Hi everybody, welcome to day 2, modeled and guided instructions. So as you can see, this comes from the ready text. I'm not going to read the goal, but I do want to just emphasize today's learning target, and that is we're going to work with simple interest problems. Right? I'm going to actually move my picture so we can take a look at the practice standards as well. But basically back to the learning target, you know that the goal for our unit here is to learn really about using proportions to solve percent problems primarily. And today it's going to be about simple interest, and we'll talk a little bit about interest, paying interest on loans. We might talk a little bit about sales tax as well. All right, the two major practices we're going to focus on today is making sense of problems and persevering in solving them, which I think that could go on every lesson, and then modeling with mathematics. All right, but let's take a look at a warm-up first. Yes, as usual, I want you to record your work. You're going to hand it in. This is an accountability tool for us. All right, this is how we know you actually paid attention and watched the video. Here we go with the warm-up. Now, some of you have probably seen some things like this, right? This is a little bit of algebraic thinking, and your goal here is to take a look at this, figure out 4 things, right? Figure out how much the red flower is worth, figure out how much the blue flower is worth, the yellow flower, and then fourth, figure out the sum of all of the flowers. All right, so I'm going to pause the video. I want you to write this on your paper, title it warm up. All right, show any work that you did to solve it, and that will let me know that you actually paid attention. All right, so I hope you paused the video and did a little work yourself. The way you can see right now, I've got the answers to the right. Again, this is some algebraic thinking. You could think about these as variables, right? So I know that 3 red flowers are equal to 60. So the way I determined that is I just did 60 divided by 3, gave me 20. You could even think about it like this: 20 plus 20 plus 20 is 60. So any way you did that, that is technically division though. You divided the 60 up into 3 equal parts, so 60 divided by 3. All right, then you know this. You've got a 30 here. You're going to take away one of the red flowers here, which is 20, so that leaves you with 10. Now you know the 2 blue flowers have to equal 10, so they must each be worth 5, half of 10. Now I've got 5 minus something needs to give me 3 right here. All right, well, this has to be 5 minus 2. So basically these 2 together count as 2, but then this is a little tricky. You got to be careful about this. Then since there's 2 of them, each of them is really worth 1. All right. Then we're just going to take the flowers that we found, add them up. So 20 plus 1 plus 5 is 26. All right, there you have it. All right, let's move on to the actual lesson now. I did want to say this. Here is where I got these. There's the website. There's tons of these on the internet. If you like this type of thing, just look up visual algebra problems to solve. Tons of fun stuff. All right, so here is the work we're going to do today, right? And this should look familiar, right? So I'm going to read the problem to you and talk you through it just a little bit before you try to solve it, and then you should get going on trying to solve it. All right, so Joshua borrows $300 from his older sister to buy a bike. He promises to pay the total amount plus 5% simple interest in 1 year. How much will Joshua pay back in all? All right, so here's this thing that we often do when we're borrowing money. Banks do it. Sometimes individuals do it. Lending companies do it. Mortgage companies do it. A mortgage is just a loan that you take out to buy a house, right? So all of these people who loan money charge interest. So that means you have to pay a little extra, and that's how they make a little bit of money, but it also gives you the opportunity to buy some things before you might have been able to, particularly expensive things like houses and cars, and in this case, a bike. All right, so here's what you have to figure out. You always find the percent of the amount that's being lent. So in this case, Joshua needs to figure out 5% of 300. And then that's the amount he'll pay in interest. So he's going to pay the 300 plus that additional amount. All right, so here's what I want you to do. Pause the video. I want you to answer the 3 questions at the top of the page, right? And then I'd like you to try to solve the problem the best you can. All right, so pause the video. All right, so hopefully everybody has taken some time to work on these. All right, and if you can't tell, the correct answer is $315. I have it in 3 different places here. Often in my videos, I put the correct answer in red. All right, so with the bar model, so let's take a look up here in the upper right first. The total amount to pay back in this situation is going to be the 100%, which is $300, plus whatever the 5% is. I love these bar models because they actually give you a visual of what's going on here. And then I use this one to kind of do a good visual for solving this. I decided, well, an easy way to find 5% is take the 100% and divide it by 20. Well, why does that work? Well, because 100 divided by 20 is 5. So what I've done is I've got 20 boxes here. All right, again, good visual. And if you can see with an arrow here, each box is worth $15. I got that by doing 300 dividing it by 20. So that tells me right away, oh, all right, well, that's what the 5% is then. It's $15, right? I did that by dividing by 20. I kind of did it by thinking, all right, 10%, you divide things basically by 10. If I want to figure out 5%, I've got to double what I divide it by because it's really half of the 10, right? So think about that for a minute, all right? If I know 10% can be done by dividing by 10, in order to figure out 5%, I'd actually have to divide everything by 20 because I need half of the 10. All right, hopefully that makes sense. So what I figured out then is 5% is 15 and then just added that in. All right, let's go down here to the equations. All right, and this equation right here, which is right to the left of my face here, I did this way. All right, so first I figured out 5% of the 300 and just did that with mathematics. Right here, I use the fractions. But remember that decimals are a really cool way to do it. But I want to point this out right here. I have seen students actually write 5% is 0.5. All right, now I can understand why people might be making that mistake, but I want you to take a look at what I have here. Remember, percent is out of 100. So 5% is 5 hundredths, which means you really have to have 2 places after the decimal. 0.5 is the same as 5/10, which is 50 hundredths. So you guys, 0.5 is 50%. Be really careful about that with any of your single digit percents. Like 5%, 6%, 7%, all of those, you have to have 0.0 first, right? Or you're going to end up with some really, really you're going to end up with some major problems, thinking you're spending too much money, or you're going to think you have too much money, or anything like that. All right, but anyway, you can see when we did that, we got $15, all right? And then the second step is to add that to the 300, so 315. There's another way to do it. This way works if you don't exactly need to know the interest. If you do need to know the interest, you should do this. But if you're just trying to figure out the total amount real quickly, you can do this. Okay, remember that you're paying 105%. Go back to our bar model here, right? 105%. So you could just right away figure out 105% of 300. So I did that by changing the 105% to 1.05. This stands for the 100. There's the 5%, or you can also think about it as moving the decimal point back 2 places. All right, and that immediately gets you to the 315. All right, now, you may want to use this information on the work you're going to do on the next slide. So if you need to back up the video, feel free to do it. All right, here we go. All right, now what I want you to do is actually on your paper that you're going to hand in, right, 2 through 9. And these questions over here, which come from the Ready instructional booklet, should be answered. All right, I want you just to do the best you can. Take your time, right? Really focus on these. Focus on the things we just learned to see if you can figure out how to do it yourself. All right, so pause the video, and then when you're ready, come on back. All right, here we are back again, and here's what I'd like you to do now. I'd like you to take a look here, and again, you might have to pause the video to actually do this, but take a look at the answers that came from the teacher's text. What I'd like you to do is circle anything you did not understand. Please be honest with this so your teachers, or me if I'm looking at it, really understand what it is we need to review. All right, so pause again, take some time to do that. If you feel you understood everything, I'd love to have you write a little note on the bottom of that section of your work. I understood this, okay? All right, one more slide. All right, just a reminder, you need to hand things in to us. So here are the steps to do that. And if you're stuck, email your teacher, or you could email me. My email address is ebailey@rsu14.org, and I'll try to help you out. All right, thanks everybody, and have a great day.